What's going on, guys? It's Dre here from Going Down the Rabbit Hole. And in today's video, what I want to talk about is the key to growth for an ENTP. And I have an image here that really illustrates this. So, first and foremost, I want to say that your favorite influencers in the typology space, they don't really understand how this stuff works. And they create these videos, especially the ones that pretend to be ENTPs or pretend to be even INTPs, of these stories of how NE works. And when I listen to it, I'm like, that's just not how it works at all. And if you are an NE user, a true NE user, you will know how NE works, right? Because it's not described in the way that people talk about it. And so it makes us ask the question, right? How does an ENTP grow? Because we're always considered with novelty and getting to the next thing and blah 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 blah. And so that's what I want to talk about. First of all, when you're thinking about all this stuff, you can't think about it at just an independent function level. This is the mistake that a lot of people make. You have to think about it on an axis. NE and SI are on an axis. And so the same is true for all other functions. But everybody talks about these functions as if they work independently of each other. And this is why nobody knows, again, how to grow as an ENTP. So they say, like, oh, follow your curiosity, go try all these new things and do this and do that and do this. It's like, actually, no. The key to growth for ENTP is to be more disciplined. SI makes you be more disciplined. And the reason why is because a lot of people don't understand this either. Your your possibilities that you see is literally just your SI synthesizing information from your past experiences, and then when your NE comes into contact, or when you as a user come into contact with something, you start to see all these possibilities because you're drawing all of these possibilities from your past experiences and you're layering it onto something new, right? Because SI is a irrational perceiving function that feeds NE, right? NE is also an irrational perceiving function. And so because SI and NE work together in this way, what SI does is it takes all of your personal experiences and it synthesizes all of them. And then by definition it's synthesizing because when you're taking past experiences and just layering it on top of something new, that is what synthesis is. Synthesis is when you take a whole bunch of different things and you combine them, and then after you combine them, it basically creates a whole new thing. That's synthesizing, right? And that's what you do. That's how you be original as a or let me not say this. Let me not say that's what you do. Let me say synthesizing is the byproduct of the creation of new things, right? I don't want to say synthesizing is responsible for the creation of new things, but it's the byproduct, because if I'm taking all of my perspectives, everything that I've experienced, and I'm combining it and consolidating it into one thing, and then because the consolidation comes from the thing that's outside of me. Like if I look at a chair and I say, oh, that can be a bicycle, that can be this, that can be that, that can be this, or this, you could do this way, you could do it this way, right? I'm just pulling my information from a library of experiences that I'm now synthesizing when I'm looking at the object that is in front of me. And people do not know how this works. And it drives me insane. And so, and another misconception is that they say, like, as an ENTP, you're less likely to develop your TE because you're not going to read from sources. That's stupid. That's not how it works. Okay? So, this is the first thing. When you develop your SI, meaning you put yourself in as many experiences as possible, you enhance your NE. And this is also why ENTP should read books. Like, I don't like to read books. I hate reading books. But the thing is that in order to truly break something down in the way that we tend to do, you need to read, or you don't need to read, but you need to at least experience it. But it enhances your experience if you've read and you've gotten the right material so that you can break it down and create your own uh, framework or whatever. So what this means is you have to start organizing your life. You have to put yourself in more experiences. You have to expose yourself to more information. You have to, and as a byproduct of that, guess what? The more information you put yourself in front of, the more stupid you will realize people are. The more you will break down people's like thought process. You'll be wrong about a lot of stuff because ENTPs are trial and error. Like we just do stuff and then we figure it out as we're going. Because a lot of people think like the whole future focus thing with NE is I'm thinking 10 years deep. It's not. It's I'm thinking in the moment about the future in the moment. Like everything to me is momentarily. Like if I'm looking at something go by, I'm anticipating this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And even then it's not in the same way that people describe, like how people say, oh, when you're thinking about NE, or when you're using NE, you're seeing these images and blah 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 blah. Very seldom do I ever see images in my head. To be honest, I've said this before, but it almost feels like a ghost is whispering to my soul, and these things just come to me, right? Like it literally just comes to me in the moment. It's not something I have to think about. It's something that literally happens, and this is why I'm really good at solving problems and being able to help people with business and all sorts of different things, because you can tell me something and I'm gonna just come up with all these ideas on the fly, and it's not forced, right? It's not forced. And this is also why I can rap, right? Like I can rap. I put a stack. You already know it's not cap. Let's go. My flow is so crazy. My name is Dre Sean. Everybody knows who it is and they know what I'm on. I could keep going. I could keep going till tomorrow. People think they nice, but they just really full of sorrow. I'm so good at this. Going off the top of this, I am a lyricist. They used to call me realist. People already know, man. My flow is going, and I'm gonna go hard like I am a snowman. I could just keep on flowing off the top, and people can't say nothing because I'm like The Rock. WWE, for anyone messing with me, I take them and slam them off the top of a tree. See, I could just keep going. Do you like that's NE? And you know what's crazy about this? That's NE, but that's me reacting to my own, like the connections that I'm forming. The reason why I'm able to do this is because I'm saying this stuff out loud. So I'm hearing it and it's sparking. When I hear a word that rhymes with one word, it sparks the connection in my mind that allows me to find the other word. And no, I was not anticipating that I was going to give you guys a rap session here. But that's also an ENTP thing. We don't, is it like, we're not, I don't want to say that we're not calculated because we're smart, but like I'm not this calculated person where I'm strategically thinking about all this stuff. Like yes, I can do that, but more so how I live my life is I go with the flow. I'm very like in the moment, and I'm coming up with ideas and solving things in the moment. Very rarely. All right, I'm getting off topic. Hold on, I'm doing anything where I'm getting off topic. Let me get back to the topic. So SI is what will allow you to, you see all those connections. Like if I sat down and I said I'm gonna build my library of definitions, and I'm gonna know every single definition in the book, in the what's it called, dictionary, right? That's another thing about people, any ENTPs. We have very horrible memory sometimes, but if I said to myself, I mean, that's literally SI inferior. If I said to myself, I'm going to memorize every single word in the dictionary, right? And I sat down and I actually practiced that. Do you know how easy it would be for me to just freestyle? I mean, it's easy for me to freestyle if I'm just looking at things. There's a door on the floor, the doorknob. You already know I'm about to eat corn on a cob. I'm rhyming one syllables, but I could rhyme two syllables. I could rhyme, you know, different things. Now, is freestyling like my main aspect of like, I would say I freestyle a lot, maybe like metaphorically, not necessarily uh, when it comes to rapping. I prefer to write my stuff down, at least when it comes to rap. But even, I want you to think of your brain like one big mind map. That's how my brain is. It's like one big mind map of connections. And so that's another thing that really helps, is that if you can create mind maps and put things in a way that you can visualize it, right? It helps to make those connections even more. That's why when I was younger, my mom used to teach me how to study for books. I mean, for tests, because I was horrible at taking tests. And I was horrible at taking tests because every time I take a test, my NE would be like, it could be this answer, it could be this answer, it could be this answer, it could be that answer. A lot of the times, like specifically things that were not super logical, like if I'm thinking about like a social studies test, for example, and the way my mom made me start to recognize how to take these tests is basically to create what I know now as it is called like a memory bank. So I'll create a memory bank of different things, or not a memory bank, but I create I'll have words and then I'll store them in my memory bank and then I'll remember them when I'm reading the test, and it'll make me remember like the whole line, of where this answer is from. So through memorization, that's how I became a better test taker. But originally, this was extremely hard for me because a lot of the times I forget things every day. I don't even remember what I did yesterday, to be honest. Actually, no, I do remember what I did yesterday, but I remember what I did yesterday but only because my dog got attacked by two dogs. Um, so yeah, yeah. So the key to growth as a ENTP is to literally focus on engaging with your SI inferior. Read, put yourself in as many experiences as possible. Your SI is going to basically synthesize all of your experiences, feed that data to your NE, and now you're going to be able to anticipate or think about so many new, not think about, but like perceive so many new things that are not actually new. They're technically just remixes. So people like to attribute NI as a lot of synthesis, and they almost act like NE doesn't do the same thing. And technically, NE doesn't do the same thing, but it does at the same time because of the axis. So this is why you need to look at things on an axis level. You can't look at things simply on like, oh my God, like this is just like, oh my God, like I have NE and NE means this and blah 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 blah. And like, bro, when I see people doing that, it just drives me literally insane. Um, because there's so much misinformation about how people go about understanding and typing themselves. And don't get me wrong, like I've mistyped myself several times. At first I thought I was a INTP, but then I was like, INTPs have terrible social skills. Every INTP that I've ever met has terrible social skills. So I must be an INFJ. That's my second one. And then I was like, no, I'm too scatterbrained to be an INFJ. I have a cousin that's an INTJ, and although INFJs and INTJs are different, they have the same dominant and inferior function. And I have a friend that's an INFJ, and they don't act the same at all. Like, no, that like I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. And then I started to like evaluate the different functions and break them down and say, okay, well, if I'm an ENTP, then I should also have some of these qualities of an ENTP. And then you read like personality database, like all these different places, and they're all wrong. They're all wrong about their interpretation of it. And the more you start to connect the dots on what's right and what's wrong, especially if you're an ENTP yourself, you extract the stuff that actually makes sense, and then you can piece together like what is wrong with everything that everybody's saying. And yeah, so anyways, this was all over the place. You know, just like how I typically how I typically am. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Hope that you enjoyed my little rap that I did, and I'm gonna be making more content like this. I'm gonna try to be a little consistent. I'm gonna try to engage my FI as I'm telling you, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.